Hi, in this demonstration we're going to show you how to migrate a database running on Oracle x86 to EnterpriseDB on POWER8. For this demonstration we're going to use 3 virtual machines. One VMware VM with 2 virtual CPU, 8 GB of RAM running Red Hat 7.2 and Oracle 11G R2. One LPAR with 1 POWER8 core, 8 GB of RAM running Red Hat 7.2 and EnterpriseDB 9.5, and another LPAR with 2 POWER8 cores, 16 GB RAM running Red Hat 7.2 and HammerDB. Using HammerDB, we will first create and populate a database on Oracle 11G R2 on x86. We will then test the database by running a workload against it. Then we will migrate the database from Oracle on x86 to EDB on POWER8. And finally, we will validate the migration by running a workload on the EnterpriseDB database on POWER8. Let's get started. HammerDB has the advantage to run on multiple databases such as Oracle, Postgres, but also SQL Server, DB2, and others. On the top right, we have 2 counters representing CPU utilization. The left one in blue shows CPU utilization for the power system running EDB. The right one, in red, shows CPU utilization for the x86 system running Oracle. At the bottom left, the blue terminal is connected to the power system running EDB. And the red terminal on the right is connected to the x86 system running Oracle. As we are on the system, I'm going to connect to the Oracle database and show what we have so far. We already created a table space that will hold the tables for the HammerDB TPCC workload, the TCC tab table space. We can check that this table space is currently empty. Now let's go to HammerDB and generate the database. The Schema Build menu allows us to configure options for the database generation. The service name for our Oracle database is XE. Oracle Instant Client on the HammerDB host. The XE service is configured in the local tnsnames.ora file to point to our Oracle instance. We're going to create a database with 10 warehouses, and in order to speed things up a bit, we will do that with 10 users. Clicking Build and confirming the creation of a TPCC schema with 10 warehouse. 10 users are now starting to create the database. HammerDB automatically assigns 1 warehouse per user. Virtual User 1 is a coordinator and waits for the 10 other to finish in order to finalize the database creation. Meanwhile, we can take a look at the CPU utilization. There is a 10 to 15 second delay on the reported CPU usage. We can now see the CPU utilization on the x86 system increasing as the database is being created on Oracle and populated. Let's re-execute the previous SQL query, and we can see that the table space contains some tables. It will take around 5 minutes to complete the database creation and population. Let's accelerate time a bit. Database creation is now complete. Let's connect as a TPCC user and execute a simple count star query. We can see that the newly populated database contains 300,000 orders. Let's test the database with some workload. Opening the driver script options. and double-checking the Oracle service name and setting the number of total transactions per user to 4,000. Loading the driver script. Let's configure the virtual users. 5 virtual users, and make sure to show their output. Now let's create the users and run the workload. As users are starting, we can see the results of their queries here. Let's keep an eye on the CPU utilization. We should see it increase soon after the delay. Here we go. This test runs for about a minute, but we'll still accelerate time a bit so we don't have to wait. Test completed. Let's have a look at the count again. Around 8,600 orders got in. Let's now focus on the EnterpriseDB on POWER8. We'll first log in to the EnterpriseDB user and look at the EnterpriseDB migration toolkit. The migration toolkit has a configuration file. That's the toolkit.properties file. In this file, the information about the source database. We can see the connection string to our Oracle instance as well as the user password, and some information for the target database. The migration toolkit is running on the same host as the EnterpriseDB. In order for the migration toolkit to work, we need the target database and user to exist. Let's go create the TPC user. We'll give him the proper permission. And finally, create the TPCC database that he owns. We are now ready to start the migration. It is as simple as running the following script. Run mtk.sh. with just one parameter that indicates the target schema. As the migration starts, you can see the connection to the source and target database. The migration starts by recreating the tables, and for each table retrieves and migrates the entries. Taking a look at the CPU usage, we can see that both systems are getting busy, as the data is being read from the Oracle on x86 and imported into EDB on POWER8. The migration will take around 5 minutes, so we will again accelerate the time. Okay, the migration just completed. We can see a summary here. 9 out of 9 tables migrated, 2 out of 2 constraints, 8 out of 8 indexes, but only 2 out of 5 procedures, which matches the 3 failed count here. Just below the list of the failed objects, the name of the 3 procedures. We can have a look at the logs in order to get detailed information about the errors. The information here will help us figure out a solution to fix those procedures. We already prepared an SQL script to recreate those procedures, so let's execute it. Those missing procedures have now been successfully created. We can now connect to our newly migrated database. And let's have a look at the orders count. All of our orders are in. It seems we migrated all of our data. In order to validate our migration has been successful, let's run a workload against it. In HammerDB, let's switch from Oracle to PostgreSQL. Select a TPCC workload for PostgreSQL. As we migrated that database from Oracle, we do not need to create one. We can directly configure the driver script. Our EDB database runs on the EDB Power host. It is an Enterprise Oracle compatible database. So we check this box and double check the different settings. We set the number of transactions per user to 4,000 and load the driver script. We can now configure our virtual users, 5 of them, with the Show Output option. Create all 5 users and run. All 5 virtual users are now running against the EDB database on POWER8. Looking at the CPU utilization, we can now see some activity on POWER8 system while running this test. This test run for around a minute. Let's accelerate time again. The test is completed. Our 5 virtual users are complete. Let's have a look at the database and check the number of orders in now. The last test added another 8,500 orders. This validates our migrated database works fine with our application. You know how easy it is to migrate from Oracle database running on x86 to EnterpriseDB running on POWER8. Thank you for watching our video.